Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai. Restructuring Nigeria means different things to many. However, the major aim of the clamor for restructuring the country is constitutional amendment to suit electorate desires for fairness, equity, transparency, human rights, and accountability. The recent call by the MIYETTI Association to the federal government to restructure the country so that Fulani people could go their way is another perspective we look on Spectacle today. Spectacle interviewed two gentlemen who analyzed this perspective after this timeout. Enjoy it. I am Daniel Atai.
The issue here we have to begin to look at is that at the time of independence, I don't know if there was a trajectory to where we are going to.
But how could it be that credible, free and fair under manual conduct of election?
That is where our problem lies, and that is why people are now saying that, advising that we should move, that the world has gone into digital. We should move from the manual to the digital.
We cannot keep doing same thing and expecting a different result.
The only way you create jobs from your ministry is that you have to encourage local content.
If you look at the profile of Sally Mama,
there is a caveat in this leave given to him. He should seek medical help if he's fine.
Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. Now, before we go into the analysis, let's have a look at the background report of that analysis. Restructure Nigeria, let Fulani go their way, MIYETTI Allah tells federal government. The MIYETTI Allah Kautahore Herdsmen Group has called on the federal government to restructure the country to allow the Fulani go their way. The national secretary of the group, Saleh Al-Hassan, said in an interview with Punch newspaper on Saturday that herdsmen were being marginalized in the country and that it was best if they were on their own where they would be protected. Al-Hassan said that it was wrong to punish a group of people for the sins of some. He said, "We don't support crime, so I am not saying there are no Fulani that are criminals, or there are, like other tribes, but don't destroy their profession. It is not good for the country if everything boss is to the advantage of the headers, because we are not even enjoying the federation. We are even bidding for restructuring of the country. Let every part go so we can say this is where we are. As it is now, there is no form of marginalization we are not seeing in this country. Everywhere we are being marginalized. You think we will accept Nigeria where we don't have access to land to feed our animals, and you think there will be peace?" When asked if he thinks restructuring will solve the headers farmers crisis, he said, "Quite fundamentally, if we live today, now, and if there is no oil revenue, won't they pay attention to animal rearing? If we restructure the country and the Southwest region says they won't accept cattle unless they are brought to the market or supermarket, is okay by us." The mistake people make is that they think when they put pressure on headers, they are getting at President Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari has no relationship with the headers, he said. That is the truth. When people say he is our grand patron, was Jonathan from the South not our grand patron? If the president is a Fulani, it doesn't in any way affect the life of a header. In fact, they are worse off under Buhari. What are they benefiting? They don't access any government facility or social amenity, yet they are responsible for the bulk of animal protein we produce in this country. I think it's deliberate for people to think otherwise. Buhari has not done anything for us other than creating enemies for us. Headers are being chased around like criminals. Let us look at the larger picture and not allow enemies penetrate us. If Buhari loves these headers, he would have created a grazing reserve for them, he said. And of course, the statement was coming from the Secretary General of the Association, Saleh Al-Hassan, who was interviewed just on Saturday, said they want the FG to restructure the country so that they can go their way. Is that what restructuring all about? I will start from you, Aminu. Adamo is on the seat with us on Spectacle today, and he is a public journalist. Also with him in the studio is Olohi Ejimbi, who is also a social commentator and public thought analyst. So let me begin with you, Aminu. Al-Hassan has come out to say to the FG, divide, the country. That is emphatically his statement, perhaps, because if you say restructure, it doesn't really mean division. But he said restructure the country so that we can go our ways. Does it entail division?
Well, thank you very much for having me in the studio.
Thank you.
I think this issue of restructuring over time has been overflogged, and for a fact that even the learned people seems to misconstrue the concept restructure.
Yes.
And it's so sad. And what does that tell us of our education in a country like Nigeria? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Of course, if you look back in the 1960s, before Nigeria was amalgamated, we're operating based on regionalism, isn't it?
Okay, yes,
and until 1960, when we got our independence, Nigeria, in 1914, where Nigeria was amalgamated, and 1960, of course, we got our independence. We had fared well. We had fared well, of course, until now that there has been a lot of mismanagement, corruption, and what have you, that has led to this, many of these agitation for, okay, let's go back to our regionalism system.
Okay.
But in essence, what is restructuring?
Okay.
To simply put, is reorganization of the whole system.
Yes.
Reorganize, restructure system.
Yes.
To reorganize it.
And not to divide.
Not to divide.
And not to separate it.
I think that's what the definition means.
Okay.
In the dictionary, of course, that is what it means.
All right.
And literally, if we are calling for restructuring, it simply means reorganize the system. You understand? Constitutionally. You understand? Infrastructure-wise. You understand? Let the change happen.
All right, I'll come back to you, Aminu Kano. Let me go to Olohi Jimbi, who is a public thought analyst and also a vast one. Olohi Jimbi, you heard what Aminu said and what Al-Hassan said. What do you think is the perception of the MIYETTI Alagro when they say divide the community, restructure the country, let's go away? Does it mean that restructuring that Nigerians are clamoring for entails separation, total separation, even if we are practicing regionalism?
Thank you very much, Mr. Dan. Well, Aminu was trying to define restructuring, but I don't want to look at it from that angle. Some MIYETTI Allah Association, I would say it's an international association. A secretary of such an association must be versed in terms of education, in terms of understanding social issues.
Yes.
But what I see is this. I think many leaders in Nigeria, they like playing with public minds.
Okay.
He was just saying so. You understand? And as it is usually said, when you want to make people feel that what you are holding is not a genuine thing, make them feel as if they are the ones benefiting from it, not you. Okay. If I go away, you will not enjoy yourself. That was what he was trying to tell us, to make us look down on the association we have in Nigeria. He didn't mean it. Okay. If not, restructuring doesn't mean to separate, that one part will go away. You understand? It's putting a new system of government that everybody will operate from his own region, forming a center. It doesn't mean going away, but since he was just talking to us, playing with our minds, so that we would think that he is not benefiting from it, we are the one benefiting. You know, that's the way I look at it.
When you say playing with your minds, he was talking to the southwestern region, the southeastern region, in reply to what the IPOB, the MASOB, the OPC, Odua People's Congress, were telling them 2 days time and even yesterday that they are coming for them. They should just mind their business. They should not come to their territory, because there are some who are renegade herdsmen. Yes. So that is why the Al-Hassan came out to make this statement that the FG should restructure. They even went on to say that they are not benefiting anything under President Muhammadu Buhari, that the president has refused to even give them grazing land.
Yes. So that they want to return to a place. And if they so think that that place has been a place for them to return, why didn't they return all this while? That people have been troubling them. He said they have given them many names. They have been calling them names, criminal names. And if people have been calling you criminal names, and you think this is a place I should return to have rest, why didn't you go there all this while? That's why I say he's just playing with public minds. He just wants people to begin to think that, even if we send these people away, they don't mind. But they actually care. They don't want to go. Okay. They have been there, troubling people everywhere. I will not call them, yes, offliners are not bad, but this issue has been there all along. And every time when you investigate, it's usually their fault. Because you don't give, I'm a businessman, he could be a businessman. Nobody bought my plot of land for me. And you can't be telling me that, okay, I should give your land because you want to graze. And you so think that that place is better for you, want to go. Why won't you go? Must we tell you to go through restructuring before you go? That's why I say he's just playing with us. All right. So that we will feel that he doesn't care about what is happening.
Okay.
Let me chip into what Mr. Olohe just said. You see, as a matter of fact, we're all Nigerians. Even though the Fulanis are citizens of this country, and the Constitution has provided for the right of every citizen in the country that you have the right to live anywhere. Do you understand? Yes. You have the right to live anywhere.
Right to association.
To association. Right to anything. The Constitution has made provision for that. Yeah. So the Fulani can stay anywhere. Yes. Do you understand? But as a matter of fact, you staying anywhere does not also give you the right to trample on the right of other citizens. Yes. Do you understand?
Now look at what he said. He said, Buhari has not done anything for us other than creating enemies for us. This statement, he said, headers are being chased around around. Let us look at the larger picture and not allow enemies penetrate us. If Buhari loves the headers, he would have created a grazing
by chasing Olohejembe from his land for them to
occupy. The fact is, I think, in my own opinion, I think the problem still lies within the Fulani because they are not organized set of human beings. Okay. Because let me prove this point correctly. If I'm a Benue man from Makurdi, you understand, and I am living in Abuja or Paraventure in Kaduna State, I have my way of living in Kaduna State. I don't go about making troubles. At all. Do you understand?
Or trespassing.
Trespassing on the aborigine or the original people or the native of Kaduna. I don't go trespassing on what belongs to them. But as it is, looking at the history of the Fulanis, there are people who are not meant to stay in one place. Quite agreed. You understand? This is their lifestyle. But in as much,
even in the 21st century.
Yes, even if it is your lifestyle, and you have given that right by the Constitution to live anywhere, does that give you does that give you that same right to trespass or trample on the right of other people in that land that you're staying? No, absolutely no. See, I happened to travel to Zamfara recently, and of course, I've seen the initiative of this grazing reserve that have been controversial over in the recent past. Yes. And I saw this is a very commendable project or initiative by the state government. And of course, if it is being approved, you understand? Yeah. Because this is just a prototype of it. Do you understand? And by the time, sooner or later, when it is commissioned, I bet you this issue of Fulani headers crisis, if this grazing reserve is approved and implemented in all the states, you understand, across Nigeria, believe me, to go a long way to profile a solution, a workable solution to this crisis in Nigeria.
Okay. All right, thank you, Aminu Adamu, for that wonderful reply. And before we go on a short break, I would like to ask you, Olohi, this situation of insecurity that is creating insecurity in the country right now, is the Southeast, the South-South, and the Southwest trying to put the whole blame of the insecurity on the Fulani herdsmen, like Al-Hassan is saying that they're calling them criminals anywhere they go, and that Buhari has not helped them at all?
You see, Dan,
what do you think the government should do?
You see, Dan, let me start from that aspect of Southeast, South-South, calling them criminals. It's not about Southeast, it's not about South-South. Obnoxiously, those of us at this center,
including Southwest,
are called are included in the North. Okay. And we too, we have been crying in the same way. It's not about them. They started with us. They are now crossing over to these people because our land is no longer enough for them. And they have seen that we no longer have strength to fight them. So before, I will say, establishing the true colony that they want to establish, they want to test those people over there. We've been seeing them as criminals. We have been calling them as criminals. They have been killing people around. So it's not about Southeast, South-South calling them criminals. It didn't start with them. It's not them at all.
Also in the North?
Yes, in the North.
And in the middle?
Even the Hausa man knows the Fulani person. The Hausa that lives with the Fulani man, he knows the Fulani person. And now someone will always tell you that Fulani man is not somebody that you can give him your boy's quarter because he will take away the bungalow proper, the main house. But concerning solving this issue, well, it's so important, but right now you should see that we don't have the government to do it. The government with that willingness to do it. And that is why you hear this man telling that Buhari has not done anything for them. That Buhari hasn't done anything for them doesn't mean that Buhari is doing other things and he rejected their own. But they wanted that process of taking it by force and giving it to them. Because they will always tell you, we want our grazing portion. It's not only in Nigeria that cattle are kept. In other developed countries, you as a business person, it's your business, it's your farm. You are supposed to possess this yourself. Get it yourself, not putting it on government.
But are people ready to give them land to have ranches?
Let me tell you something. You said I came from Nasarawa. All generals and other people from Abuja here, they have bought almost all the lands in Nasarawa from the natives. Okay, a Fulani man could do the same if he had wanted, but he always wanted it free.
Those generals bought those land for what? For ranching?
For farming, for their businesses. I'm just giving an example. The local people are ready. I just said that to tell you that the local people are ready to sell their lands if you want, their properties if you want. So much enough that you can use for ranches, even if you are using it for double or more. That they have sold to these people. So why didn't the Fulani people also buy the way those other people bought? And you are waiting for government to give a land. And you should know that in law, government himself cannot collect land from somebody and give to another person.
The government have grazing reserves across the state. Are you aware of that?
Yes, of course, but devoid of sentiments and the point that Mr. Lawyer has made. You see, when I made my point earlier, at the beginning of the show, I said, look, this problem this problem still lies with the Fulanis of inability of organizing themselves. Do you understand? We have more than 250 ethnic groups in this country. Why has it been that it is always Fulani and other ethnic groups that are making issues? If you look at it from the root, you would discover that the problem emanates from the Fulani because they are the one rearing their cattle, you understand, across the state. And of course, when they go about grazing, you understand, they trespass into farmers' farm and eat their crops. Do you get? And what do you expect farmers to do? They will definitely react.
All right.
Now, coming to the grazing reserve, each state has grazing reserve, but over time, has they been making use of this grazing reserve?
So they have to revamp them.
It has to be revamped. I just cite an instance now that when I traveled down to Zamfara and I saw what the state government is doing, I will share the pictures with you so that you'll be able to make reference to.
Okay.
And I saw the land allocated for what is it called? Ranching. The type of amenities they are constructing, I was wowed. And I said, how comes if this policy of grazing reserve has been there over time, how comes the government have not been able to develop it? Why is it now?
Who has the political will?
Why is it now that it has become so tense? The tension is too high. Do you understand? That they are beginning to come up with names. You understand?
Yeah.
That flowery names that is also inciting. You understand? Sentiments and what have you. Because if you look in the recent past when they say ranching, you understand? Not too many understand that.
Right.
And that is why the issue became controversial. So you understand?
There should be sensitization.
Of course.
Before that name, ranching.
Do you understand? Why not leave it as the grazing reserves, you understand? That were in various states should be developed, you understand? And gradually, people come to know that, oh, across the states, there were actually grazing reserves for the Fulanis.
Right.
And bring them together. Please don't go. Now, he said something and I picked it. If you go to the Western world, we have people who rear cattle. And you have never a day in the streets seen a cow, you understand, moving in those streets.
Yes.
How is it done? Why can't Nigeria replicate same?
Since we are predominantly farmers.
Yes. There should be, I think when you talk about restructuring, putting all these infrastructures in place is basically what entails restructuring.
Could that be what he is asking from the president? Giving them ranches across the reserves?
Yes. Yes, I don't know. You know, sometimes when you want to put a message across, if you don't calculate it well, people will read meanings to it.
Okay.
And maybe the way he passed his message, of course, could incite emotions. Not everybody will understand what he means, you understand, or what he's trying to say. Looking at this now, referencing the president that he is not helping matters. He's inciting emotions. What do you expect president to do? Where we have the Nigerian is a sovereign state, you understand? Is a democratic state.
You have just said that the president, just like Shiboro Ilu from Zamfara State, or the governors too.
I believe by the time that is commissioned, it will start, because it's a prototype, and the government, federal government, see how it's going to work. You understand? It's same should be replicated in every other state across the country. And to me, as a sociologist, you understand, I said, and I stand by it, that what I have seen in Zamfara will profile a working solution, a workable solution to this crisis of farmer and the Fulanis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aminu. Before I go on that break, you were itching to say something. Do you want to say something else in addition to what he said?
I think he made
concerning
a point.
what the president should do.
I think he made a point. What I wanted to say, you know, when the federal government was asking the state to during that Ruga whatever that came up,
Ruga, yes. That is the word, Ruga.
Some people call it Fulani colony.
Yes, colony, yes.
Especially
that is the Ruga issue.
Central.
It was never referential, as you just said, that there has been a ranching plan in all states. You should give this portion now to the Fulanis. They never said anything like that to remind anybody that we had this before. So give to these people. They were like putting it in such a way, so much that those people in the states, they thought they were coming to collect new land, to build these rugas or ranches in where they have never been given for it. Okay, so if they had made the point that he just made, there was a time we said ranches or grazing reserve should be made available for Fulanis in all the states. I believe you have
not Fulani. It can't be specific.
Oh, no,
the farmers. You understand? If I'm a farmer and I want to rear cattle, that doesn't make me a Fulani.
Thank you.
Do you understand? And of course, if the Fulani man want to farm, the land is available to him.
Okay, the grazing reserve.
There is a grazing reserve, so anybody can rear cattle.
The reason I'm making this point is that when they were talking of Rugas, they never referred to other farmers.
Yeah, that's correct.
It was always about the Fulanis.
I saw fault there too.
It has been about the Fulanis. Okay. So, and even if they were saying about the Fulanis, they should have said the grazing reserve should be given, or a portion of it should be given or created for these people to come there and rear cattle. Not walking through my farm. I was staying inside Nasarawa. They call the place Nasarawa Tutu. I used to tell people, though they would call Benue food basket of the nation. But I was in Nasarawa. The year I came to Nasarawa, that I was brought to Nasarawa as a child, that Nasarawa state was given. And there was more food in Nasarawa than Benue.
Okay.
Nasarawa had food than Benue. But today, Nasarawa, I think, is rated the poorest state in Nigeria because of these Fulani people. They can come to your farm. It's something I witnessed. They can come to your farm if they allow your farm to get to that level of harvest. If at all they didn't allow their cattle to eat it up, and they will tell you, don't come to this farm again, they will harvest it. Terrorizing these people, and nobody is saying anything.
But when you say that the state become poor because of Fulani people, does that mean that the Fulani, the government has no alternative solution to how poverty could be alleviated in that state?
Well, you should understand, we said something earlier, predominantly in Nigeria here, we are farmers. Forget that we went to school. Forget that we are talking of a government that we have a lot of people in the assembly, in whatever. But if you begin to go through all the ministries, how many people do you have? Majority of us are farmers. I work, but I still farm. Okay. You understand? So the same thing with Nasarawa. Majority of them, you can ask. Even today, Zamfara people are, even though I told you that Nasarawa has reduced in terms of that, Zamfara people and many northern people are coming to Nasarawa now, especially that Lafia Ageragu side, to buy grains because they farm very well. So since majority of them are farmers, they are going down because this crisis does not allow them to farm enough. The crisis doesn't allow them to farm enough.
All right, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll go into the second discussion about the Bolo, the son of Dr. Doyin Ukube, who has declared himself gay last week, I think in faraway United States of America. Welcome back. Our second focus is on gay rights in Nigeria. Recall that in 2014, under the administration of the People's Democratic Party and the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, an amendment to the 1990 Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act, which comprises of penalties against homosexuality and lesbianism, as well as conduct or displays tantamount to same, was promulgated. Now, the recent declaration by the Bolu Okugbe, the son of the former presidential spokesman, Doyin Okugbe, on his Instagram page, that he is gay, could it attract punishment, or what punishment could that attract in the Nigerian circumstance of the law? Watch the excerpt, an excerpt from the Human Dignity Trust. We're looking into the Nigerian Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act 2013. On 7th January 2014, Nigerian President Jonathan Goodluck signed his assent to the same-sex marriage known as the Marriage Prohibition Act 2013, SSMPA. Several elements of this legislation contravene Nigeria's constitution as well as its binding international obligations, which guarantee fundamental rights to dignity, equality, non-discrimination, privacy, freedom from arbitrary arrest and detention, and freedom of expression and association. Under pre-existing law, Nigeria already criminalizes consensual same-sex sexual activity in private, which attracts a maximum penalty of 14 years imprisonment. In addition to violating a number of fundamental human rights, the criminalization of homosexuality has been recognized by experts as seriously impending public health outcomes. Same-sex marriage and civil unions of the same act provided that only marriages contracted between a man and a woman shall be recognized as valid in Nigeria. Also, any marriage contract or civil union entered into between persons of the same sex is prohibited. The Criminal Code Act, Chapter 77, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 1990, Section 214, for carnal knowledge against the order of nature, acts of gross indecency between males carry a maximum sentence of 3 years. Criminal Code Act Section 352, you can check. In it, the civil union is defined as any arrangement between persons of the same sex to live together as sex partners and shall include such descriptions as adult independent relationships, caring partnership, civil partnerships, civil solidarity pact, domestic partnerships, reciprocal beneficiary relationships, registered partnership, significant relationships, and stable unions. See Section 7. Other prohibited conduct. The Same-Sex Marriage Prohibition Act also criminalizes a number of activities associated with homosexual identity, including free association through gay or gay organizations. This includes prohibitions on registering gay clubs, societies, and organizations, and their substance, processions and meeting, public showing of same-sex amorous relationships directly or indirectly, and it attracts certain penalties such as for engaging in the prohibited activities prescribed in the SSMPA Act are as follows. Section 5, subsection 1 gives a penalty of entering into a same-sex marriage or contract or civil union a 14 years imprisonment. Section 5, subsection 2, registering, operating, or participating in gay clubs, societies, and organizations, or directly or indirectly making public show of same-sex amorous relationship in Nigeria, the penalty carries 10 years imprisonment. Section 5, subsection 3 is administering, witnessing, abetting, or aiding the solemnization of a same-sex marriage or civil union takes a penalty of 10 years imprisonment. Supporting the registration, operation, and sustenance of gay clubs, societies, organizations, processions, or meetings in Nigeria takes maximum of 10 years imprisonment. And these are some of the implications. Problematically, the definition of the types of relationships regulated by the SSMPA is broader than mere marriage and could capture any type of committed, caring, and emotional partnership of same-sex people who happen to be living together. Thus, same-sex marriage is defined to mean the coming together of persons of the same sex with the purpose of living together as husband and wife, or for other purposes of same-sexual relationship, while civil union is defined even more broadly to mean, in general, any arrangement between persons of the same sex to live together as sex partners. Any such unmarried couples may still fall foul of the prohibition and face up to 14 years imprisonment. Anything amounting to mere indirect public demonstration of a same-sex amorous relationship is now criminalized in Nigeria. It is unclear how this would be enforced, but it could conceivably encompass any form of touching between persons of the same sex, including holding hands or hugging. The subjectivity of such a standard is likely to lead to further arbitrary arrest and detention. In going beyond sexual activity, these provisions extend their criminalization of sexual identity to a greater extent than ever before. Most noticeably, the SSMPA will have a chilling effect on civil society by starving organizations of funding and other forms of support, even providing services such as leasing premises to gay clubs, societies, organizations, or for the purpose of procession or meeting could constitute a form of support that will run the risk of 10 years imprisonment.
Now, the issue here of this background is that the whole Doyin Okugbue, former presidential spokesman of the PDP under Jonathan, the son openly declared himself as gay, though human rights said his right is protected abroad, but want Nigeria to also protect the right of the gay people, the same-sex, lesbian, bisexual, and so on in the country. This law was promulgated in 2014 as taken from 1990, because we have that act in the Constitution that prohibited this kind of character, especially like the one we saw from him on his Instagram page. Does that mean that if he steps his foot in the country, his right that he enjoys over there will be scrutinized by the Nigerian government?
Of course, in my opinion,
yes.
Because right now, he made that declaration because he's not on the soil, in Nigerian soil. If he had, you understand?
Yes.
Definitely the law will come against him.
Do we have homosexual people in this country?
There are many.
And they are moving freely?
They are moving freely.
Has the law done anything about it?
I have not seen where the law has taken its course.
Okay. All right, Mr. Olohi, he has his right to be a gay, isn't it? Is it wrong for Nigeria?
He has his right to be a gay, but not under Nigerian. Not in Nigeria.
Not under Nigeria.
I don't know. Not in Nigeria.
Well, I'll need a lawyer to come and explain more on that. But do you have anything to say over this issue of Doyin Okugbue's song?
Well, you see,
or about gay generally?
Yes. You see, that is, I was discussing this with somebody last time. You know, there are issues that we will consider, you know, in your time, you know, becoming useless in time. I don't think in Nigeria, in that 2013 to 14 that they were trying to enact this, I don't think that was what they should look into.
Okay.
It wasn't necessary. We had a lot of problems in the country, lot of problems in the country. So sitting today that government officials will be talking about gay people, I don't think it's necessary in the country that we are living in. We have religious body that should know how to go about their people, because this has to do with moral culture. It doesn't have anything to do with leadership.
Since the country is very religious.
Thank you.
People tend to be very religious.
Thank you.
But not godly.
Not godly. It should be from them. Not government trying to enact something like this, creating an act to prohibit people in this kind of nature. We don't say they should open it for them, but it wasn't necessary for legislature to go into that.
They said they did it because of the impending health issue.
That is where I was coming to disagree with Mr. Olohi a bit as an analyst.
Yes.
You know, this is a country, you understand, sir? And this country is governed by leadership. And we have rules. Do you understand? And you see, when the government says that there is a problem, anything that will constitute a problem, a social problem, you understand? Definitely, that is the function of the
what kind of
legislature.
social problem?
Like this same-sex marriage.
Same-sex marriage is not far.
Or lesbianism, or homosexuality.
It's a problem.
Yes.
Even biblically, Quranically, scripturally,
that's religious.
You and I know that this is an unacceptable act. Do you understand?
In the Bible, in the Quran.
In the Quran, in the Bible.
The religious books.
References to in the time, centuries, in the time of Lot, where God completely erased a community. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So why now?
Well,
that sorry, I've not finished.
Yes.
Why now that same problem is resurfacing or is living with us in the society, that it will not constitute a problem?
Yeah, but
the government deemed it fit to come and start looking at how it will affect the general well-being of the citizenry.
Okay.
And of course, they have to take actions.
All right.
If the Americans that says they are liberal, you understand, welcome immorality in the society, we have a history of culture in our society that does not. I agree that there should be a body responsible, you understand, morally, you understand, sanctioning people who are committing this act. But if this body is not constitutionally backed, how do you think they can carry out?
They are constitutionally backed already.
This is it.
Now, you were talking about their freedom, their right to practice whatever they want to practice. And judging from the fact that the government of Nigeria is also a member nation of the United Nations Organization, who will benefit a lot of things from our international relations. And
I think I was more diplomatic about what I was saying than the way you just put it.
Okay.
I was talking about the government. Okay, imagine the father. He was in a government that many of us, at the end of the day, we loved Jonathan but did not support because of the kind of corruption that was being practiced. Nothing was done about that corruption. He came talking, denouncing the son today because from an angle of being a Christian.
Exactly.
That is why I started my analysis from there. He wasn't saying it that this thing is a crime to the society. He was saying, as a religious person, as a Christian, you are not supposed to do this. And he's renouncing that. And as the same Christian,
he denounced the son.
You understand? And as the same Christian, he was in a corrupt government, and he never said anything about that corrupt government. That is why I say this is not the kind of thing that we should sit and be discussing.
Okay, this is hypocrisy.
Yes, hypocrisy. We shouldn't be talking about gay, which has to do with an individual. What about those other things that is destroying the nation? As we were talking of MIYETTI, Allah, and other things. They don't. they always look for an opportunity to distract us. Even when they were trying to pass that, I was seeing that as well as a distraction. It wasn't necessary. That's why I say it will be an inutile. 10 years to come, what we are discussing today, our voices will go down on it because it would have taken over the whole world that you begin to see yourself as an alien. I'm telling you the truth. That's the way we should be looking at it. Is it necessary? What harm does it have? Okay.
All right.
What harm to the society?
Let's have a look. Let's take a look at the video and see the reaction from the Twitter angle of Plus TV. Captured it very well for us, and let's have a look at it. We stop there. I think so far you have watched the video and the reactions. You saw one of the reactions say that his father was part of the corrupt government, like you said, and they took our money, sent their children abroad to school. That the more of that will continue to happen. Is that it?
See, yes, like Mr. Lohi said, we have a hydra-headed problems, issues in this country.
So it was even part of the government that promulgated the law.
And by priority, where the angle is coming from, this should be the least discussed issue because there is already a law, you understand, that is in place to tackle issue of gay, same-sex, and what have you. But the corruption issue, one of the issue at hand that, of course, that needs to be dealt with. And if you look, why would Okukpe come and begin to tell us that his son is engaged? Why don't he allow him to come to Nigeria and make that pronouncement? Then do you understand?
And then the law,
he knew that nothing can be done while he is under the cover. You understand?
No, he was coming from the religious angle.
Yes, I agree. No, which is quite okay. Yes. Do you understand? So it is true that every family member, every father, mother, religious body have that duty, you understand, of regulating, do you understand, this kind of issues that is coming from the moral angle, you understand, which will, of course, how are they going about it, will serve as a social control, you understand, to mitigate this issue of immorality in our society.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adamu Aminu, for coming on Spectacle today. Olohi, you have something else to say? I wanted to say, have you made any research about gay, whether it is bad
or good?
You should see, Dan, by now, you should have known me as somebody that is advocating for good leadership. And I just told somebody yesterday, Dr. Christie Koja.
Okay.
I said, it's unthinkable for us to begin to rate leadership on the basis of religious ideology.
Okay.
In 2002, Per Christian Fox was the prime minister of Norway. And Norway should be the second or third most developed country in the world. He was a king.
Even there is a video here which I want them to play shortly.
So I want to give you understand.
The present secretary
of the United States of America.
Yes,
correct.
Secretary of Transportation. This one is a prime minister. Yes. This one is just Secretary of Transportation, Minister of Transportation, as we will say it in Nigeria. But he was a prime minister, the head of government.
This one was a mayor before.
Was a mayor, yes, of South Bend.
Okay.
And not only a mayor, that was what I told Chrissy yesterday. You know, these are the people that were against Joe Biden because they believed that other man was a messiah, the liar. Let me put it like that. But they elected him as a mayor, even when he was still an army, serving a soldier, serving in the Navy Reserve.
This same guy that introduced the husband on the...
But yes, Buttigieg.
Okay.
Pet. He was a naval officer in the Naval Reserve.
See.
From he ended his appointment with them in just 2017, and he became a mayor in 2012.
Okay.
If these people didn't see him as a good leader to lead them, being a worker with the government, they wouldn't have elected him. But they saw that he is good.
And he introduced his wife. He said, it's
the
my
husband.
He said, this
yes.
is my husband.
He is the wife now.
Okay, currently, the prime minister of...
there must be something they saw.
Are they bearing children?
It's the leadership. That's why I started from the leadership aspect. These are the people that what they look at is that quality for you to make their society work.
Okay, not
that is why I said our government shouldn't sit there and be talking about gay when we have so many issues.
But in that case, if you have a good
quality
for leadership, doesn't mean you should also accompany with immorality.
That that is ideological. That is ideological. Let's take you.
It is because
it is ideological.
It is because what your faith has told you, what you believe, the ideology in religion, what you believe has condemned it. You shouldn't come to a public place.
That definition is ideological. It's completely ideological.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Okay. You don't eat frog, isn't it?
Correct.
Other people are eating frog like the Chinese. Would you condemn them for eating frog?
Well, it's a shock.
If you do that, I will collect your Chinese food for you.
It's like in my sociology class back in those days, I remember very well we were taught culture shock.
Okay.
Do you understand? It is okay that if I travel from here to China and I found out
they're eating even maggot.
It's a shock for me because from my country of origin, I don't eat frog or maggot, and it will take me time to begin to get to adapt to their own system or to their own culture, the way of life. You understand?
So perhaps Bolu Okugbe, after some time, adopted that
adapt to their system of life and of course embrace gay as his own part of social life.
So he should remain
so
there.
Mr. Olohe, I completely understand your
gentlemen, thanks for coming. I'll bring a lawyer subsequently to analyze some aspect of this law, whether he could still come to Nigeria and practice his homosexuality or whatever he believes as in his human right position could entail in the country's constitution, or promulgation of that law of same-sex marriage and the Prohibition Act that also incorporates certain characters of homosexuality and lesbianism. Thanks for coming, Mr. Olohiye Ejimbi, to Spectacle, and Aminu Adamu.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. I think this is where we'll stop today, and I urge you to always keep a date with Spectacle on Television Nigerian for more thrilling and interesting episodes. I have been Daniel Atai. Welcome to Spectacle on Television Nigeria. I am your host, Daniel Atai.